We all know the value of exercise, right? We know how good it is for us. We know how good it is for our dogs. And I want to point out that there are times when it's not the best thing, that simply exercising can actually be hurting you and your dog. Oh, and in case we're meeting for the first time, my name is Mary DeBono, and this is the Easier Movement, Happier Dogs podcast. So, yeah, if you or your dog have a habitual movement pattern, which is very common, if you have one that's actually creating more stress and strain on your body, simply exercising will often just reinforce it. It'll exacerbate it. It'll kind of uh, deepen the grooves in your nervous system, so to speak. In other words, make it more entrenched, that habit more entrenched. That's not what we want. Not if that habit isn't working for us, right? It's working against us. And I've talked about movement habits before, and I go into detail in my book about them. But these are things that we do, and I say we, meaning either ourselves or our dogs, do them unconsciously, that they were originally a solution to a problem, that they've now kind of overstayed their welcome and they're no longer helping us. They're actually harming us. So, to give you a simple example, just say you stub your toe and it really hurts in the beginning, or you have some problem like that, and maybe you broke the toe and you limp for a while, right? That's a good strategy, right? Not to put pressure on the broken toe. So you limp. And then as the toe heals, you limp less and less. And maybe you still have what I call an echo of the limp. A little bit of the limp is left. In other words, maybe it's just now your pelvis tilts a little bit to the side, right? Or maybe one shoulder hikes up a little bit more because your nervous system kind of got attached to that habit. It was like, oh, that really served us. So very often we don't totally let go of those compensations, those habits, right? Then it becomes like an entrenched habit. So our dogs do similar things. Your dog may have gotten to a habit, for example, of the haunches being a little off to the side when they walk, right? Maybe there was again, I'm going to expect that there was a good reason for the dog to have started that the nervous system decided that that needed to happen, maybe to be able to bring one hind leg under him in a different way, right? But that habit now in itself can be harmful. So you can see how just simply exercising more and more without addressing the underlying problem is going to be very detrimental, right? Now, this is important. We have to recognize that those habits started as a good solution, like I said a moment ago, right? There was a reason, good reason. So we want to think about curiosity, not correction, right? We don't want to say, oh, I don't want my dog or myself to do that, right? I'm going to like try to stop them from doing it. No, 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 no. We want to think instead, why do I do that? Or why does my dog do that? And then we can address it in an intelligent way, in a way that works with the nervous system. And I want to say, first of all, if you notice anything about yourself doing something funky, check with your physician. If you notice your dog doing something funky like that, check with your dog's vet, okay? And figure out why that's going on from a medical point of view. And from a movement point of view, it's really interesting to think about, okay, how can I become more aware of that? Like, what could I do differently? And it could be something as simple as taking more pauses, like maybe you and your dog are on a really vigorous hike. Maybe every once in a while you change your speed, you go slower, or you stop and just like look at the environment, take it in, right? Give your nervous system time to kind of reset a little bit, because a lot of times what happens is the more fatigued we get, we really rely on those habits, even the ones that are no longer serving us. We rely on them more and more when we get fatigued. Okay. So you want to make sure you're not going to the point of fatigue, either for you or your dog, right? You might also like think about varying the terrain, like not only exercising on concrete or asphalt, but, maybe on different surfaces like wooded trails, and maybe some places have leaves and some places have little gravel or, DG or, different types of soil, if you will, right? So you want to think about changing that, going up inclines, going down inclines, you know, doing things that kind of get the attention of the nervous system so you're not stuck in the same ruts. Because again, that's another unfortunate way of entrenching those habits, those harmful habits, is just doing the same things over and over. So you want to think of varying things. You want to think of changing things up a bit, okay? So that you're not stuck in these habit loops that, our dogs and ourselves get into. So just to make this a little, more practical, just say you and your dog are out taking a walk. Just bring some attention, some awareness to like how you're breathing. Ask yourself, where can I let go of unnecessary tension? And that includes tension in your mind as well. Can I let my shoulders come down? Do I have to grip the leash so tightly? Maybe that's just a habit. Of course, you hold the leash, in a way that your dog can't rip it out of your hand if they get chasing a squirrel or something. But, you do it in a way that you're not just gripping, you know, um, for no reason, right? You want to have a solid hold on the leash, but not unnecessary tension that's going to actually go and transfer into other parts of your body as well. And remember, our dogs mirror so much of how we are. So the more you get a handle on how you are moving, right? And bring more awareness to how your feet hit the ground, right? Do you press more heavily with one than the other? Start to notice, be curious about that. And again, we're not saying to make a correction. We're just starting to bring that awareness to it. So it's more curiosity you want to think about. And then you'll see what the brain does with that information. Because it often will start to say, oh, maybe I don't need to do that anymore. Right. So play around with this and think about how, you can bring more exploration rather than simple exercise. Right. And when you bring exploration, curiosity, awareness into the picture, it increases the value of the exercise. So, whatever exercise you're doing with your dog, you want to increase its value, right? You want to make it so that it's really, really healthy for you and your dog to be doing that. And that happens with awareness. So, let me know how it works for you. Let me know what you've explored, what you discover, and if you have another issue you'd love me to talk about, I'd be happy to do so. So just you can just email me, mary@marydebono.com. So thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to talking to you again soon. Bye for now.